Peace. By now, I know we've all had it out with the situation that occurred over there in Minneapolis again and again and again and again and again. We're talking about race soldiers. And race soldiers, literally, their entire responsibility is to police to the benefit of the racial caste system. That's their entire objective, their entire responsibility. And just like our ancestors had to deal with the deplorable specter of watching their own people corral them and hunt them down, sometimes they made the best hunters. Sometimes they made the best trackers. Because they understood us. They were fast as us and everything else. And just like that was a deplorable specter, it had to have been for our own people here in America, dealing with chattel slavery, and then, of course, Jim Crow and everything else that came after that. To this day, it is y'all guys' turn to deal with this, to address this. But I know there's a lot of belly aching. There's a lot of belly aching that I'm noticing on social media surrounding black people's lack of substantive participation in these protests. We're going to get into that. Now, what I would like to do here for purposes of expediency and a respect for my time, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to summarily read off some names to you and tell me whenever one of them tickles your fancy here. We have Jacob Blake, August 23rd, 2020, shot in the back in Kenosha, Wisconsin, while attempting to get in his car after some type of domestic disturbance between him and the people that he was domiciling with at the time. Now, suffice it to say, he wasn't necessarily a good person, but that doesn't necessarily justify the shooting in the back, now does it? Then, of course, we have in the same state that Mr. Preddy, I believe, was executed, and in which Ms. Good was executed. We have the deplorable case of Philando Castile, July 6th of 2016, shot to death while attempting to abide by the law and hand over his ID card representing the fact that he was either a gun carrier or he was indeed entitled to operate the vehicle, because Yanez never asked for the card. Yanez never asked for his driver's license and registration and proof of insurance in a meaningful way separate from Castile's responsibility to produce the ID card. And that man walked, so-called man walked. You have a Tatiana Coquise Jefferson, another law-abiding, gun-carrying member of society, shot to death in Fort Worth, Texas in 2019 while attempting to defend her home from a perceived threat. She died in front of her family. Her young family, young nephew. Then we have Charles Kinsey, age 47, a behavioral therapist who was shot while attempting to protect his autistic client from being killed by law enforcement. Client was having an episode. Mr. Kinsley, honoring his responsibility to said child, went out and attempt to bring the child back and away from society, which would misunderstand his actions and how he was choosing to emote. And of course, police were called, police responded. The man laid on the ground with his hands up to show that this was not a threat here. And I'm just, the kid's not a threat and I'm not a threat. And he was still shot with his hands up. The pig said he didn't even know why he shot him. Yes, he does. He knew. He was black, and he figured as though he could get away with it. That's why he shot him. Then you have Charles O'Neill, Chicago, Illinois, July 28th, 2016, an 18-year-old unarmed black man who was shot in the back by Chicago police after a vehicle chase. He fled on foot from the stolen car before being killed. Right? So much for being shot in the back, right? And it being somehow unlawful just by the act. Then you have Ronell Foster of Vallejo, California, February of 2018, A 33-year-old black father riding a bike shot in the back of the head after attempting to evade an officer who was attempting to stop him for a minor traffic violation. The officer claimed he was a threat, of course. Yeah. Then you have Patrick Leoya, Grand Rapids, Michigan, April 2022, but widely reported with 2020 and 2022 trends. A black man shot and killed after running from officers during a traffic stop that escalated. Then you have Leyland Walker of Akron, Ohio, June 27th of 2022, an unarmed black man who was shot dozens of times by police while running away following a traffic stop. Then you have Robert Adams, San Bernardino, California, mid-2022. Police shot Adams as he ran in the opposite direction from an unmarked vehicle during an attempted stop. Then you have Corey Lamar Jones, a 31-year-old black housing inspector and musician who was killed by an off-duty cop by the name of Nauman K. Raja, a Palm Beach Gardens police officer working undercover, wearing plain clothes, and driving an unmarked van. Then you have Jason Walker, 37-year-old black man who was shot and killed by an off-duty pig while crossing a road near his home. Then you have Robert Jones, 54-year-old African-American man, was stopped on the side of the road, believing a nearby disabled vehicle needed help. An off-duty police detective, Christopher Sweeney, still armed, shot Jones at point-blank range through the window as Jones approached, even though Jones was unarmed and reportedly trying to assist. These are our stories. And those stories are but a drop of water, one solitary drop of water in the ocean of pain and death and despair that this country has intentionally caused black people. The Democrats, wanting to not have to cater to the responsibility of justice, pushed black people to the side and elevated every other narrative it could in order to justify the silencing it paid to our condition here in this country, our man-made condition here in this country. And all of it's for the same exact reason you guys are being confronted with the situation that you're being confronted with now, which is the potential for a civil war in this country. And that's the reason why the Democrats didn't want to give into it. That goes all the way back to the Kerner report and the Kerner Commission. They had an opportunity then when they actually objectively looked at the cold facts that were being presented. And the vicious thing about capitalism, what capitalism does is it makes people believe that anybody can truly participate at the highest of levels. And you can't.
I'm at the dick on the glass level. That's my level.
But it still doesn't stop these ICE people who got $50,000 sign-on bonuses from believing that it does. And then that belief saddled with a mandate to be more aggressive, more violent, more confrontational, more disrespectful, more disregarding, more constitutionally violative. When that desire, capitalistic, greedy desire, is saddled with that type of mandate, then it makes you easily understand the fervor that these people engage in when it comes time to do their job. I just got a $50,000 sign-on bonus. Bro, I'm going in, and they're riding that wave. Some people, even in the more recent event of Preddy being executed, some people, though they are engaging in that fervor, do not want to entertain that extreme. And you saw it in that incident where you had some officers willing, reflexively eager and giddy to silence that man's life for a simple affront. We're talking about a shoving match. That's something that children do. But to these people, it was good enough to kill. But don't sit here and act like that's a you thing and where are black people at now and we all need to jump in, bro. We all needed to jump in all the way back at Emmett Till. In fact, we all needed to jump in Reconstruction era when you guys were allowing the Ku Klux Klan, when the North pulled out and allowed the South to take back over and run black people out of politics, start mass lynching black people, murdering them, bombing them, burning their places down. You allowed the KKK to march on Washington. There wasn't any National Guard out there. They have always been a domestic terrorist threat. And you allowed them to march on Washington. You carved out constitutional protections for their particular philosophies. You wanted this. You wanted this. For on every single time the white liberal is given an opportunity to choose a more revolutionary and progressive stance on these issues, they always choose the milquetoast, homogenized lane. Always choose it. You had an opportunity to stop this. You could have curtailed this from happening. And this is just the beginning of his second term. Can you imagine what it's going to look like when the midterms come? And that man is confronted with the reality that if these people are allowed to become representatives and congressmen and women, then I'm going to get impeached. Most definitely that's going to happen. He's not going to allow that to happen. Listen to his psychosis. The man already believes that he's beyond reproach. He believes that nothing he does is wrong because he has the fiat of the powers of the executive on his side. So if a man laboring under that type of mind state believes that there's not going to be any consequences for all of the numerous actions that he's committing right now, the constitutional violations he's engaging in, the international violations and acts of aggression that he's engaging in, the complete and utter disregard for the Constitution in the black letter of the law and red letter of the law, doesn't care even a little bit. When that man is actually confronted with the specter of consequence, if he doesn't go full fascistic or fascist, he's already fascistic. But if he doesn't go full fascist by the time of the midterms, it's going to happen, whether it's on the lead up to the midterms, when it gets closer around October, August, September, around that time period. If he doesn't do something like declaring the Insurrection Act on the lead up before that, it's either going to happen then at that particular moment, in that time slot, that 3-month time period, or it's going to happen after they attempt to impeach him. But it's going to happen. It is going to happen. And you guys ask. The irony of it is that a Republican is in office now, just like a Republican was in office during the last Civil War this country had. But you guys, you asked for this. There were so many righteous, Christian, religiously based conflagration points that we all could have engaged in and saw the deed not only engaged in, but see it to its conclusion. And a lot of you believe blacking out your profile pics and putting a black square, or marching and yelling and banging and doing stuff like that and singing and blowing whistles. A lot of you believe that is the sum total of all you need do in order to engage fascism and make fascism get on the back heel. And you're wrong. A lot of you who were actually in the 2020 protest and could see that they were majority peaceful, you still saddled up alongside Democrats who were voting, talking about stop sloganizing, painting the entire movement with a broad brush. You're always giving an option between the Democrat that is milquetoast but familiar and the Democrat, so-called Democrat, that is progressive and a little scary because of where they want to push us universally. But you're going to have to deal with that. Yes, there's an immigration problem in this country. Black people will readily attest to that. Those who are intellectually honest and have hands-on experience with dealing with an encroaching demographic. And it is encroaching. And I do use that word intentionally because before it wasn't like that. Before, black people were seeking solidarity with these so-called people of color. We even allowed ourselves to be counted amongst their number, BIPOC. You didn't hear a lot of black people initially pushing back on that terminology when it first came to the fore. But now we started pushing back on it. Why? Because you got the Nuri Martinez types. You got car-carrying Nazis that are Mexicans and Hispanics.
Get the fuck out of here! Sorry! Sorry! Get the fuck! Home! Get the fuck home! That bullshit with some fucking nigger and a bad cop down here. This is not up there. This is here. Get the fuck home. You fucking idiots. Do this shit again. Get the fuck out of here. I don't give a shit. Where you work? Leave them alone. They're not doing anything, bro. No, they're escalating the bullshit. Hey. Move. I'm not even with them. Whoa. Hey. Move. Move. Go home. Go home. Go home. Go home. Go home. Go home. Don't let those fucking niggers up there fool you. Don't let this fucking trash and Antifa bullshit people fool you. Don't let these pendejos right here. Don't let these fucking assholes lie to you. Don't let them lie to you. This is a valley.
You got Africans that come over here and immediately begin demonizing us, looking down on us, talking trash on us.
I told them that we don't need affirmative action. The big hand clap goes there. We don't need that today. We're not in a society where that's necessary today. I said that we don't need critical race theory, which is racism. Clap your hands. Critical race theory, how do you define it? It's racism. It's racist that white students go to school and they're told, because of your whiteness, you are an oppressor.
Yeah, that brother's starving.
Yes, sir.
Of course, black people, we endured that, and it's been a slow drip to where we are at right now ever since then. It's been a slow drip. It is not all Africans, of course, just like it's not all Hispanics, but it is enough. It is enough, and it is so much so that we can identify you as a demographic causing us a problem. That's how many of you, of your number, are causing black people a problem. Hell, black people were ran out of California. The Mexicans were creating an ethnic cleansing that you guys don't even know about or don't even care about. But it was widely reported at the time, and they're still doing it. They're just doing it politically now. Ask Nori Martinez. That is the sentiment that you hold towards us, and we can see it. And when we can't see it and we're gullible and stupid and we have our guard down to you, once the impacts of what you have devised behind the scenes hits us, we can feel it. So you guys have marked lines in the sand, declaring yourselves as enemies to us with the Akatas and all this other stuff. Look at your most famous tether of the times, Nicki Minaj. This is what you guys do to us, and we don't see a massive influx of Jamaican voices beating down on Nicki Minaj. We don't see a massive amount of Icelandic voices beating down on Candace Owens, or Hispanic voices beating down on Coleman Hughes, or Marco Rubio, or Ron DeSantis, or Ted Cruz. It isn't what you say when things are bad that becomes the most salient feature. It's what you do when things are good and going as you feel as though they should. And when things are going in the way that you feel they should, we get the results of a Ron DeSantis in office. We get the results of a Donald Trump in office. We get the results of a Marco Rubio in office. We get the results of a Nuri Martinez in office. That's how things function when you guys believe that they're functioning as they should. Okay, then. This is the result. Black people could have told you that because we have the generational trauma to be the best spokespersons for the consequences of your actions. Black people could have been told you that. You ignored it, came here with this can-do white supremacist mentality, and thought that you could collectively align yourself with white supremacy to beat down on us? Why? Because that's how it was when we were children, wasn't it? Everybody wanted to be cool with the bully or bullies. People would come in and tuck their entire identity in their back pocket in order to saddle up alongside a bully, just to avoid being bullied themselves. All right. Well, an amazing brother, Professor Black Truth, he repeats a thing often when he says white supremacy, when it's finished, it always breaks its tools. When black people said we were delineating from you all, and we made that very clear, we made that very vocal, and some of us, maybe definitely ill-advised, even voted for the man in office to solidify our position, ante to yours. That gave the power structure in white supremacist circles the green light on y'all. The green light, because they can't use you anymore. They can't trot out a Byron Donalds to speak as a spokesperson for all black people because we don't accept him. You have no lineage which traces you back to the killing fields of America in the antebellum South, in the liberal North. You don't have our narrative. You are not our ethnicity. In fact, you are not our particular genetic production. Slavery produced a different version, a new version of blackness. It did. It physically and intellectually separated us from Africa in order to be a better product for the capitalistic white supremacist industrial machine here in this country.
Now, to the whites in the audience, please don't get uptight. Please don't be upset. You see, the scripture says God made man. Didn't say God made nigger. God made man. Then somebody else made a nigger. And the nigger is the product of the workings of this social, political, economic, religious, and judicial order. We didn't make ourselves like this, so we are your product. So if you don't like what you're made, then look in the mirror and see your own bestiality.
So it created us separate. In our love for all things us, we sought to combine with all of Africa. We had been doing it since the times of Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was not a tether. Marcus Garvey was a black man with common sense.
Fellow citizens of Africa, I greet you in the name of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League of the World. You may ask, what organization is that? It is for me to inform you that the Universal Negro Improvement Association is an organization that seeks to unite into one solid body the 400 million Negroes of the world, to link up the 15 million Negroes of the United States of America with the 20 million Negroes of the West Indies, the 40 million Negroes of South and Central America with the 280 million Negroes of Africa for the purpose of bettering our industrial, commercial, educational, social, and political conditions.
And he came here and spoke to us, and we aligned with him by the millions, bro. Not by the tens of thousands, but by the millions we aligned with him. Arguably, he gave birth, his philosophy gave birth to the Nation of Islam. That wasn't a tether. And that was a man who clearly spoke to a need that black people were laboring under. If we were so foreigner, or we were so hostile to the idea of the other, we would have never embraced him. Because his voice and the way he looked and the hats and stuff, we would have never embraced him. We embraced him reflexively, like we've always embraced our families, cousins, and distant relatives in the diaspora. It was you guys who came here with the hostility towards us because you seen us laboring, but you never took the time out to understand why it was we were laboring, which would have brought you to the front steps of the white supremacist machine behind redlining, redistricting, and voter suppression. It would have brought you to the front doors of the conspiracy against every single black movement that we've ever had in this country. It would have brought you to the front doors of the fire bombings of every single black community we've ever created in this country, even in the 20th century. It would have brought you to the front door of the political assassinations, the flooding of drugs and guns intentionally into black communities. It would have brought you directly face to face with the white supremacists that your whole entire face is currently cramped up the ass of. But you chose the easy expedient of siding with the bully, believing as though as long as I was the loudest voice on its side, I wouldn't have to worry about the consequences of its focus, of the bully's focus, which is exactly what Nicki Minaj is doing right now. And you're learning the hard way. Don't ask black people to engage you. You are going to have to go through the rigors like we did. You are going to have to go through the pains like we did. And there are some white people who already know this and will come out and readily admit it. This isn't black people's fight. Leave black people out of it. They're on the sidelines for this one. And we are. And maybe at the end of the day, we will swoop in. Those 2 killings that y'all just seen, we deal with that. I had a case once coming out of New Jersey of a black man. And admittedly, he was selling drugs. He was doing what he wasn't supposed to do, allegedly. Says this country, the biggest drug dealers and drug lord supporters on the planet. But whatever. This retail soldier, right? Drug dealer on the side of the road at night, Patterson, New Jersey. It was Jersey City, Union County. And he ran from the police. He had a gun on him. And he had drugs on him. He ran from the police. He threw his gun and he threw his drugs in backyards. He fell. The police officer came over top of him and shot him point blank range, unarmed, in his head. Thought he killed him. He didn't kill him. But the man, he has an indent in his head. Bullet went straight through. Allah blessed him, bro, because he did not die. But his brain, he can't hold a functioning thought. He can't finish a line of logic at all in talking to him. It was one of the most painful situations I had ever been in trying to help him, because I like to work from the vantage point of where your mind is at, and he couldn't use his. And that was sad to me, very sad to me. So we've been dealing with that. It was anecdotally, but I also gave you a list of other cases, and if you were so inclined, you could look and find hundreds more, not over a 10 or 15 year period, just in the last year. Over 2,500 people or so were killed just last year by the police. So if you looked and you cared, you would have saw that your damn self. None of those things were good enough. Zimmerman selling Skittles and postcards, that wasn't good enough. These white supremacists getting their jobs back the next day, not good enough, right? The gangs in the police force raining hell and terror on black communities, not good enough. The outward racism coming out of those gangs towards the black community, not good enough, because it's always easy for you guys to be saying that's what those people are dealing with. None of those things were good enough. And the one thing you have to understand about humanity, it is a holistic process, meaning if humanity is paid to one group, it will eventually be paid to the other. Whether it's because you have to listen to the suffering or behold the suffering, or indeed the group is oppressed to such a degree that its voices becomes insignificant. So the bully then goes and finds somebody else to pick on. And that's what the bully's doing right now. Because black people, by demographic raw numbers alone, because a lot of black people refuse to identify as black when they come to this country, they allow their so-called ethnicities to take over, and they'll say, oh, I'm not black, I'm North African. Oh, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. I'm not black, I'm Cuban. And so our numbers are where it's at. Demographically speaking, black people are third-class citizens. Hispanics are second-class citizens. And the Hispanics are experiencing exactly what the black people experienced when they were second-class citizens. And they have 21st century machinery for you to get the full impact of that experience. I don't know what to tell you. But threatening us, shaming us, highlighting us, none of that's going to make us move, obviously. You're going to get some of us because my people are beautiful people. We are. In your mad dash to fillet capitalism and white supremacy, you just didn't take the time out to see that. My people are reflexively beautiful people, and inhumanity inspires them to be humane. So you're going to get some scragglers out of our number that will come out and support you. Hell, even fight for you. Might kill somebody in defense of you. But the body politic of the African American here, or should I say, because there needs to be separation from that term now, from the foundational black Africans here. Y'all, I don't see us actually coming out en masse. I just don't see it. It may happen, like I said before, but I don't see it. So in closing, bro, stay woke, stay conscious, stay aware. To think is to live, bro.